Right on, man. Well, welcome to the studio. Yeah. I am super pumped to have you here. We've been talking about this for a couple months now.
Yeah, I think it was end of December. We got linked up and you're like, hey, you want to come out? We've got some cool things. You might want to see if we can link up on this. And dude, it's awesome to be here. So thank you for having me out and getting to see your range earlier today. And
yeah, you're welcome.
Do some work today and just get ready for the match this weekend.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. The way that this all worked out, I have a lit, I have like 32 people that I want to have on the show this year.
That's a lot.
And you're one of them. I want to try to do like 2 to 3 a month.
Okay.
Right. The podcast has been something that, I haven't been super consistent with in the last probably 18 months or so. And I really want to move back into that because I don't know, people want to hear what you have to say. And there's, as we know, as we just been discussing, there is a ton of there's just so much information out there. There's so much stuff for people to consume. And I don't know, sometimes you look at it and you're like, am I saying the same things over and over and over again? And it's just like, what can we do to keep it fresh? And then there's other people that are like, no, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for all those basic skills. And there's something to be said for that. Right. So, keeping the information flowing and having a connection with your audience, I think is super important from just a pure authenticity standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, Chad and we run miles to matches together. And the reason for that, it's kind of funny, like podcasting is interesting to me because we hear only the part of the conversation that we're having.
Right.
We don't really get to see the other part that happens between the 2 or 3 guys that listen to the same episode that then deep dive into it and digest it until months, weeks, or potentially years later, however that happens, right? I mean, I've had a couple where we've listened to podcasts and maybe they affect how we do something and it's completely out. It's not a shooting podcast, for instance. It might be a motivational podcast. We talk about it. The impact that the podcast can have for an individual shooter are amazing.
Yep.
2 to 3 year effects because you heard one statement that clicks with you, that gets you to that next level, or even just there is a next level and you figure it out as a result of that.
I agree. Yeah. It's like when somebody does have that light bulb moment where it's just they could have heard that piece of information and worded in a couple of different ways in the past, or just the way it gets worded to you and all of a sudden it clicks and that will stick with you forever.
The catalyst.
Right? Yeah, for sure. So what do you think of Washington so far?
Dude, the trip in here.
Let's talk about the trip in here.
Okay.
We got
So I came in,
didn't make it
Sunday. I got to spend obviously the week at the headquarters up in MDT, and we were there. I was there till Wednesday. Came back across the border and went from Seattle over the mountains to here. At least that was the simple plan.
That was the plan.
Yeah. And while I did execute on that plan officially, I kind of forgot being Eastern, right? Michigan, we get snow, we get lake effect. So lake effect snow is different than mountain snow. So as I was driving, I got this Google notification warning, your route may take you through like a blizzard or something. Detours not recommended. This is the first time I've ever seen this particular warning.
Detour not recommended.
Yeah. Big bold letters. Whatever. And I'm like, wow, how many detours could there be? Well, there aren't any, to be honest, except if you go several hours out of your way, and they're apparently all worse, as I found out. I immediately called you. I called my buddy Ryan and kind of put out the feelers like, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know what happens going up and over this pass. It could be 3,000 feet, snowing like crazy. And now all of a sudden I look and I see an hour extra time. And I'm thinking, that's not good.
All right.
You're like, well, you'll be able to get across. They keep it open. And they did keep it open. Except going up the mountain, it was raining all the way up the mountain from Seattle. That wasn't the problem. There was also no lines on the road because it's hard to see, glary, and everything's worn in from the studs that people run up the mountain. And as I come around, all of a sudden I'm going from like 70, I drop down to 40 because now it is actually pretty sketchy. It's getting really windy. Almost hit a down tree in the middle of the expressway, get around another corner and see 2 feet of snow. There was no snow, and suddenly there was 2 feet of snow in one lane on the highway. Just avoided that and didn't ditch it, and then got another half mile up the road and we are full stop. And I spent 3 hours sitting in the same spot.
It's brutal, man.
At the top of, what's the name? Snoqualmie Path?
Yeah.
Yeah. So And then on the way, and a bunch of other things. I mean, it was an epic road trip for memories. I'll remember everything about that entire up and down the mountain for years.
We aim to please.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Man, like I've had some, it's a crapshoot with that pass because sometimes it's not a big deal. And, as we know, it's just other people, right?
Yeah.
It's other people. So, and then you the comment that you made, you're like, I can't even tell what lane I'm in, right? Because it's all the studs wear off and it's also the plows because the plows are scraping, and there's no lines, right? And I've been up there before where it's raining and the road's wet. You can't even tell what lane you're in. And I think that's really where a lot of problems arise from that is people don't know what lanes they're in, or they merge into another person's lane and there's a collision and problems.
Yep.
I've had some gnarly ones. So usually this time of year, this threshold right about March is when it's like you can get some spring storms that hit the Cascades that can get pretty gnarly, which you've experienced.
Figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, there's no other way, you're either going to go over during the day and risk the same thing, or you go over at night and risk the same thing. So it's like, it's tomato, half, 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. So, that's just 20 SHOT Show. I think it was SHOT Show 24, SHOT Show 24 coming back over from Seattle. I always try to fly out of Yakima if I can, just cause it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes down the road here. But especially this time of year when you gotta try to get over to Seattle in time. If I spend the night over, so that way I don't have to risk what you experienced. Yeah. And so I came home from SHOT Show. I made it over the pass okay. And once I got to Ellensburg, there's that Highway 82 that you take out of Ellensburg to come south from 90 to here in Yakima. I climbed that first hill, got to the top, and I was like, man, I'm going to be home free. No big deal. Well, it was an ice storm, and it froze, and all of the trucks that were on those hills hadn't chained up. And so now they're all jackknifed on the road. And it's like you said, I came around the corner and just saw lights. Yep. It's the same thing. I saw lights, and it's like 9 o'clock at night, and I know home is 27 miles away from where I was at. And I was like, dude, this is not good. So I ended up just throwing it in 4-wheel drive, and there was only a little bit of snow. So I was driving on the median, and I was like, dude, we're Mad Max in this shit, man. I am not messing around. I'm going home. I get all the way home fighting all that traffic. It took me like 4 hours to get through, to make it 26 miles through all that stuff. And then I finally get to the top of the hill here, and I see, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning now. I see the lights from the cop cars, and I'm like, dude, it's like my house is literally, I can see it from the top of the hill. They had that hill closed off because people were spun out on the hill.
Oh man.
And the sheriff's deputy was up there, and I was like, hey man, can I just go home? He's like, no, I can't let you down the hill. I can't let you down the hill. And I was like, So I called Cass, and I was like, hey, come meet me at the bottom of Pioneer. I'm just going to walk. She was like, what? Where are you? And I was like, I'm only like a mile away from the house. So I parked the truck at the gravel pit up there, and the sheriff's deputies were like, what is this guy doing? I had a set of trekking poles in the truck, and because it was slick ice. Yeah. It was ice. And so I just threw my little backpack on and left everything in the truck, and was like, I'm going home, man. So I walked home. Problem solving 101. When you got to get it done, you got to get it done. Yeah. We've had a couple of days of crazy weather here. Last week we had our intro class with we clocked gusts at 43 miles an hour. And well, you were out at the range
I was out today.
So it's like, anything over what we were experiencing out there today was averaging about 16 to 20, somewhere in there.
The peak we got was somewhere around 20. Yeah.
And that's about the max, where anything faster than that, it's hard to communicate, hard to talk, hard to teach.
Yeah. We were at that limit. Like I was using non-electronic gear, bro. And I think we were at that limit to just do like normal voice comms without yelling. And we were at about 20. Just the wind noise alone was enough for me to just have to make sure I was very focused. Like, hey, can you hear me? But yeah, it's, 20 up to 10 to 20 is my favorite time to practice shooting for sure. 20 to 40 can be fun at times, but it just gets a little bit tiresome.
When it's at that speed, right? 20 to 40, if it backs off or speeds up at all, it's usually going to be, it's not going to be like a mile an hour or two.
Correct.
It's going to be like 4 to 6, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
It shuts off, and then you shoot, and then now you're either way upwind or way downwind, depending on which way it goes. And it's really hard to deal with that.
Yeah.
Super tough.
It was really interesting to shoot there. We had a headwind. We were at 10 to 15, and then it switched and instantly went from 10, 15 up to 15 to 20 and switched directions, and it stayed there.
Yeah, I did.
So it was neat because like we talked in the car on the way there, like my goal this year is to actually start learning more Western, like not just windy places, but Western windy, where you're at the sagebrush, the big slopes, the lack of references for distances, no trees. Those are, they're unique to me because I get to shoot mainly in Michigan. So having that extra skill layer where you're only looking at, everything out here I've noticed is built to withstand wind.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So you don't see the soft ripple of grass typically. You just get these tight little fast motions through brush. My brain's learning that. There's not really debris or dust flying around because that's already been blown off. So if it's a little bit wet, there's no indication of anything else moving. And so you're using almost exclusively mirage and face feel to get any sort of indication for an on-the-fly gut feel of what you're shooting in.
Indeed.
And then whatever you see downrange, knowing what that was, reverse calculating, okay, at that angle and that distance, I thought it was this. The real result makes this mile per hour. Let's just see if that stays constant for a while. Like, it's just a different starting point to get into a wind solution than what I'm used to out east. So, and like we talked, I try not to use a Kestrel for practice because it.
Yeah. Well, I like how you do it. You're like, hey, nobody talks about the first wind call of the morning, right? Or the day, right? I like that. It's just like, hey, you have to be able, and I tell the students this all the time, you have to make your own wind calls. Like when you're learning to make wind calls, it's very important that you make your own, because then you're going to understand the process that got you to where you're at to say, hey, I'm going to use this. Because if Francis comes up and says, hey, Caylen, just hold 6/10, just hold 6/10 right, everything will be fine. It's like, okay, cool. So let's just say I hold 6/10 right and everything is fine. But Francis, he takes off and he goes someplace else, or, you're at a different stage or whatever the case is. And now I'm like, well, I don't know how is 6/10 going to work for the next stage or the next, whatever the circumstances are. You don't know how you got there. And then on the other side of it, if it doesn't work, you don't know why it didn't work.
Exactly.
And you can't replicate it. You can't get back to it.
Yeah. You get one chance every time you pull out your rifle, anytime you go to sleep, you get one chance to have a blind, no discussion, first shot, blind wind call and cold shooter moment. And it's, some like at 100 yards, it's your cold shooter moment. Where's the absolute cold bore? At anything of distance, it's the first shot at distance. How much do you want to learn from that first shot? And if you, hopefully, I personally, I like to pick a number that I already know the rough dope for. So 400 yards is one of my favorites, right? 400 to 700. So you'll just memorize one, but I use 400 a lot. It's 1.8 for almost all of my rifles. 1.7, 1.8, or 1.9 for a slow dasher. I'll use that because it's an easy one, especially in bigger winds, for me to get a little confidence, but it's not so much that you're looking for like a 2 mil solution, but it is enough that you're taking a 3 to 4/10 target, a reasonable size target, and saying, I think, is it 0? No. Okay. Do I think it's 1 mil? No. Okay. And you just play that game and you just kind of narrow it down, and you're trying to do it kind of like, if you ever read the book Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, it's great on introspection, how you make fast decisions without a lot of thought. Okay. And, just quick gut check, and then bookend it, work to some value that makes some amount of sense, send it. And expect it to be wrong, to be perfectly honest, like early on, especially expect it to be wrong, but you can then use that gut feel to say, well, why did I arrive at this? And then just as soon as you make your shot, why did I arrive at this number? And now you get to actually have something to go work on, which is why did I use that number? What made me think that it was that number? Did I have anything to actually base it off? Well, I thought it was 8 miles an hour. Well, why would 8 miles an hour at 400 yards equate to this? Well, because of direction. Like, you have to walk through your own logic. And if you do that right, you only get one chance at that a day. If you told me hey, that was 6/10 at 300 or 400 and you hit, there's no way for me to unhear that.
Right.
No matter,
No
matter how it
You're
works.
like, Francis hit, Caylen hit with 6/10. Like what? And then just this morning we were out there. When I first started shooting, I only needed like 3. And then you stepped up like literally 2 minutes later and you were like, hey man, I needed like 7. The same target, same distance. And it's just, the conditions change. And one of the things that we try to tell students is like, hey man, it's just you and the conditions.
Yeah.
It's just you and the conditions. In our subscription service in the Modern Day Rifleman Network, we are going through a 40-day challenge right now. We're called the Cold Bore 40. And it's the first of 3 challenges that we're going to do this year.
Okay.
40 days. And this is a lot of the subject of that I want to talk with you about specifically and kind of understand your thought process on these things. But every day we're giving people something to do with their mind, their body, and their rifle.
Love that.
Right. So
yeah,
feed your mind, move your body, and do something with your rifle, right? Hold it, touch it, dry fire it, like do something with it. Right. And even if you can only do like 5 minutes, even if you can only do 5 minutes, but can you do it 40 days straight? Right? Can you really dedicate that time to it? And we believe one of the things, the sayings that we started with is mindfulness behind the rifle and with Modern Day Sniper. And that's something that's important to me. And there has to be a certain mindfulness aspect of shooting in general because it's a firearm, number one, right? So your headspace, you have to be present, you have to be focused, and you can't be willy-nilly with this, right? It's a tool that causes death. Okay. Yeah. It's not something to play with. But then many sports, like we were talking about, as soon as I heard that you were in a road race, and I was like, come on, man. No kidding.
Yeah.
And you know who else is into road racing is Corson Piper.
Oh yeah. We talked briefly about this. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to actually chit chat with him more about it because I know he did a few road races as well and into bikes.
Yeah. It's the same time frame. Yep. It's the same time period in life. Right. So it's like, I don't know, that 20-year-old age where you're just like, man, I need to light my hair on fire and it feels good to go fast and that laser focus. But shooting, it has this uncanny way of, and I'm sure there's other activities out there, like you come from a golf background, instantaneous validation of whether or not the work that you just put into this action you executed was good enough for what you wanted the result to be.
Yeah.
And how attached are you to the result? Like how emotionally connected to the result are you? And is that the driving force behind you participating in that activity? Or is it the process that got you to the instant that you executed that activity? Yeah. Right. So that's the mindfulness aspect that we like to talk about in our monthly subscription service. And we also do Headspace Hub discussions where we call it the Headspace Hub, where it's talking about some aspect of psychology, personal growth, development, things that just trying to make better humans at the same time making better shooters.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So you alluded to that because you said you have a background in psychology, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At U of M. Yeah. When I went to school there, it was organizational psychology and science. Well, mostly science through the first few years. And then,
So when it comes to the mindset aspect, how does Francis bring all of those 3 things together, the mind, the body, and the rifle? Because I know that we have some questions in here for the Modern Day Sniper Club members towards the end of the episode when we get into that. And I don't want to steal too much thunder from that because there's some good ones in there. How do you approach this from a training perspective, and how do you keep yourself sharp? Like, how do you go about it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll start with what I started doing. And I think that's probably the thing, like my initial trajectory. Started shooting, competitively shooting in 2016, 2015. It was an F-class match or 2. Didn't really find that to be my cup of tea. Went to a DMR match, did really well there with, a lot of training. Again, the fear of failure motivates a lot of people early on to either go train excessively or never get started. It's one of the, I find it's one of those two things. So there's a few people who probably go, I'll try it, and they don't really care. And it's like, oh, that's fun. But the fear of failure for me was I have to train and I have to train. And even if I don't know what to train, I will train something so I feel somewhat prepared. DMR went to sort of a PRS-esque style match. Then I found my jam. I'm like, this is cool. It's not just sending fast rounds, it's sending precise rounds. And there's something I don't get because I missed a bunch. And why did I miss a bunch? Why am I in the mid pack? And now my mind starts just pounding on, can I do better with a little bit more effort, intensity, and training? And the answer is yes. So I spent, 2019 onward is when I first started shooting in PRS and any sort of regional competitive match. And I found out pretty quickly that while I wasn't a slow shooter, knowing how your mind processes information, the faster you can sort of, let's call it, disrupt your brain to think and process information faster. When you back off 5%, it feels really easy. So we had this function that we would do in golf, at TrackMan, you're working with a player to have a swing speed. I'd say, show me 100%. They give it everything they got. And their club head speed might be 110, 120 miles an hour. Pick a number. All right, so if that's 110 or 110% or 100%, can you show me what 90% would feel like and look like? They'd swing at 90. And their goal, I'm like, so you were at 100 miles an hour. I'd like you to swing 90 now, 90% effort. They do that. Then I'll show them what their swinging is. Now show me 75. Now show me 80. Now show me 50. And I kind of move them down to this really low value. And I take all the shots and go, okay, let's take a look at the outcome. 100% yields 100%. 90% yields 100% output. 80% yields 100% output. In fact, you were getting faster at 80 and 90% than you were at 100%.
Yeah, okay.
And why is that important? Because it means that if you can say, now I need the threshold at achieving 100% capacity isn't practicing at 100% capacity. It's trying to find a way to make you so uncomfortable at 100, 105, 110% of your goal, a goal that is out of reach with a small, tangible skill that you can actually start to absorb either information faster or you can move faster, just like adding, 20 pounds to a curl or whatever that is as you continue to progress in like a weight program. So for me, it was quite literally learn how to move and shoot so fast that I can slow down and feel like I can just take it all in and look around and learn better. And then I would mix that with precision. So many reps, about 5 reps of hyper speed, as fast as I could go to beat my own time. Then 5 reps of hyper precision. And slowly, what I'm trying to do is mix, and this is what started with me kind of making body, mind, rifle, kind of a threefold all-in-one drill. My body is taxed. When you do 10 to 20 reps of a fast-paced 30-second to 40-second barricade,
you're going to get smoked.
You are smoked at the end of it when you do it 5, 6, 8 times. You're holding a 20 to 30-pound bag and rifle system, moving it from a lunge, a kneeling, to back to a lunge, to a standing, to a cross step, back to a lunge, and then you're doing it now, repeat 10 times. When you go to precision, you're working on fine motor skills, trying not to induce wobble, but you're also hyper-focused and saying, where is my point of aim? Where is that bullet going to land? So I'm trying to engage my brain instead of my body. And then I'm trying to take both of those and analyze, like, what do I need to improve upon so I have a better game plan to sort of continuously work towards better improvement? And I'm already working with my rifle and my gear, so it's 2-fer and now a 3-fer.
So how often do you train?
Now I train, I'll say differently than I did, or I have to train differently now than I did when I started. When I started, I was building fundamental skills that needed a core, like I'm going to say a baseline repetition just to get me to autonomy, to execute putting a bag down and not thinking, not letting it pitch 45 degrees forward and fall off a prop, or, hey, bag hits center of prop, rifle is now at target as opposed to 10 degrees forward and down of target. I had to, thousands of reps on barricades just to work on all those small details were built in. That was hours a week. I almost shudder to say, but the first year I actually did the PRS barricade right before the finale so much that the next day I couldn't walk. I thought I was going to have to skip the finale. I did over 250 reps of barricade drills, trying to get the fastest barricade I could. Because at the time I thought that was my, hey, if I can go fast, right? Dave Preston was one of the fastest shooters in the world, and a bunch of other guys. So I thought, if I just keep doing this will help me get better, because it hadn't not worked. I couldn't walk the next day. It's 250 plus ups and downs with lunges. It was like 500 or 700 lunges. And I'm like, with under real speed. And then, so I overdid it. Well, let's suffice it to say, fast all the way forward. Now, what do? I will go to the range about 3 to 6 hours a week.
Okay.
At maximum, about 3 to 6 hours. It's going to be it could be a 15-minute session, and it could be a 1-hour session. It's only predicated, how long I'm there only matters is, did I achieve the result that I set out to go to? And that might be, I need to work on NPA, and so I'm going to, let's say, got to break in a rifle, or I got to test a load or test some ammo that's going to a match. That process is well defined for me. Here's what I know that test needs to achieve. Can I take some other training value into this that won't affect the test? Is there another training value that I can add to this, so I don't have to waste time on this and then repeat the process and go do training somewhere else? If the answer is yes, then I'll incorporate, say, positional and bag drills for precision bag placement and precision bag shooting while breaking in a rifle, or while testing a load versus a load versus a load. So now it's a 15 to a 1-hour session. It's very rare that I'm ever at the range for more than about an hour or two. My wife would probably disagree with that statement, but more than about an hour, hour and a half, where I don't already know that it's going to take me an hour and a half. Like, you know the times. So 1 to 3 times a week, 15 to an hour at the range. And all I'm really doing is shooting small paper drills on really tiny. I mean, I would say the average aim point that I use is about the size of that red button. I hope I didn't turn anything off there, but
you did actually.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I did.
It's our neon.
It's super touchful, super sensitive. Yeah,
very sensitive.
Yeah. So I use a very small aim point, but all of my drills I generally work at 100 yards. Sometimes I'll go to 300 or 400 if there's something very specific I need to work on. But honestly, 100-yard drills were the most impactful for me early, and continue to be the most meaningful for me for both time and consistency of the measurement system I'm trying to use. 100 yards is where it's at, plus some other things for longer range.
Man, I can't stress that enough. Recently, there was some rezoning of some property out here, and outside here, you probably saw that plowed field back there. That's 40 acres that the neighbors purchased. It used to be an orchard, and the guy who had that was most likely going to parcel it out and develop it. And that was the west view of one of the neighbors up the road. And that's the south view of the guy that's up here on the hill. He owns a brewery up here. And so those two got together and they purchased it. The guy who owns the brewery is going to farm barley. Right?
Makes sense.
And all of the food at the brewery is like farm to table. So he's got a huge garden. And then in the fall, they're going to turn it and just do a couple cuts of alfalfa. And so there's nothing but, that's 42 acres out there. And so they're like, hey man, like don't do anything stupid and you can shoot out there. So I have 100-yard range right out the back of the shop here. And all of the rocks that go up this little ridge, they're perfect.
I saw them as I was
pulling in. You just throw a bag,
super cool.
Look at it, throw a bag on it, get stable, and do what you can to apply all the 8 fundamental, well, I call them the 8 touch points. Basically like how you connect to your rifle. So the first touch point would be the grip. Second touch point would be the rifle body connection. Third touch point would be your jaw weld. Then it'd be your non-shooting hand placement, shoulder angle, spine alignment, hips, and then lower body. Right. So make sure that if you can hit all 8 of those points and you can do them intentionally, you're probably going to be able to build a decently stable position. And then the rest of it is just how are you catching recoil, and how is your body is your body interfacing with the rifle during the recoil process. And just like you're saying, I put up like little tiny 1/2-inch dots out there, and that's all I shoot. I'll just take 2 shots from each position, but I don't fire. I want featureless dots that I have to pick an aiming point. Like I want to be able to pick the aiming point. So because on a piece of steel, you don't have a little dot to aim at. You have to pick that dot. Like you got to figure out where you want the bullet to go on that target. And that is, you just take 20 shots, go up there with 20 rounds, and you get more training value doing that at 100 yards than, people think that you have to go to the range and you got to go through all of this. Like, I don't know what people think, but it's like, it doesn't have to be that involved. It doesn't have to be that complex. You have to run your shot sequence, and you have to run your shot sequence to the point where if there was an error, we have to be able to identify where that chain broke.
Yes.
And then you got to work that and then bring that into the shot sequence so that it does actually execute a flow.
100%. In fact, I would say that was why like my initial, call it speed/precision training. Like it was just one drill. It was the only drill that really made sense to my brain because, well, that's just how I operate. It was developed and born kind of out of the golf mechanics and some of the psychology that you have with elite golfers when you're trying to develop power and consistency. Like, all the guys you see on tour can't hit the ball much faster than what they do on tour at any given moment.
That's the concept that you were talking about, is like, we know what max speed is,
correct,
but we're not going to live at max speed. We're going to train so that max speed is, so that way when we operate, we're at 80 to 90% of our capacity.
Correct. And there's a couple of downstream effects of that. 80 to 90% feels really comfortable, but not so comfortable that you are lackadaisical. Complacent. Yeah. It allows you to absorb information at a fast rate. Your brain generally absorbs information at a very high rate, or can. And by pushing, you have to literally train your brain to absorb information at a faster rate. And the speed with which you can see things downrange, or how you interpret and sort of build out each group when you're shooting on like a 5x5 drill. It's another drill that I use a lot. It's
do tell.
Yeah. So Chad 5x5 precision makes all my barrels, and I'm like, Chad, I made this drill where we shoot 5 and 5, and I was like, I need a way to practice where I can fire 10 meaningful rounds in 90 seconds and get as many training points as I can out of it.
Okay.
So it's 2 aim points. It's 2 rounds modified prone on one. So from a bipod, modified prone.
Okay.
Manipulate your bipod closed, put your bag down, 2 rounds off of a bench, off the rear of the bench, off a bag, 2 rounds on the other aim point. And then go back to your bipod modified prone off of the other aim point. So you're alternating 2 targets.
Okay.
Target 1, target 2. One is all going to be a group modified prone, and it'll be 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. If you really want to make it spicy, it's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. So you can end up getting a few more. You basically end up with a 5-shot group, or a 6 and a 6. So you can do up to 12 rounds. You're doing that in under 90 seconds. You can put a chrono on the table and either at the front and shoot past it, or hook it to your rifle. I'm getting a relative POI difference between my rifle's modified prone position and my bag position. I'm also stressing manipulation of equipment, right? Going from a modified prone to a bag, going from a bag to a modified prone, or full prone. It's just much harder to do that in 90 seconds. Yeah. But you can change the time frame to fit. You're making use of, let's call it 10 rounds instead of an infinite number or unlimited number, where it's a set purpose. You can do it on an index card this big and keep track of it and take that and say, today's date, there's my goal, there's my drill. I did 10 rounds, and every single one is meaning and purpose. Here's my velocity off the chrono that I just had next to it. Here's my average offset from the 2 positions. Here's my group size. And let's say now I take a stack of 20 of these. Yeah. And every time I go out, I know my 0.0, my average velocity for that barrel. I know my average offset for a group. So if I'm in a bag and I'm half a tenth or a tenth high from a bag, I know that there is an offset, so that if I'm on a position in a match, I should favor down a half a tenth to a tenth. If I'm shooting from a bag on average, my point of impact is slightly different. Quantify that. And if it's not different, Yahtzee, that's what we want. But what if it's not just up and down? It could be left and right. Or my group size off a bag is 1/2 inch, but off a bipod, it's 3/4 inch. It can give you other things to work on by just doing that single litmus. And then you can write down technically the speed of every single round fired in the sequence that it was fired. So you know if you have a cold bore problem, if you have, like we talked about today for suppressors, is there a differential in your first shot for speed? If my first shot is 1,200 yards and I know my average velocity over 20 strings on a cold bore or a cool bore is 15 feet per second. Do I need to compute a new solution for that?
Just for that first shot.
Just for that first shot. And I've done that multiple times. Like that one drill captures more data on a meaningful 10 rounds for one mag, and then I can do it in 15. I can go to the range, 10 minutes, walk away, and have more information than most people will leave over an hour.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. I mean, data is important, right? It's what shows us where we need to direct our attention.
Yeah.
Right. With skill building. That's a good drill. That's really good and simple.
Super easy.
Yeah. And it's like the simplicity. The drills don't have to be complicated, right? They don't have to be complicated to be effective. And simple is usually better anyways.
Yeah. And I mean, the funny thing is that this drill is just one version of a drill to get what I think I need in order to prepare for a match. So it allows me to say, oh shit, I'm low on time. I have my ammo ready. The match has already started. That's a phrase that Chad said about Chad has started this, hashtag the match has already started. The day I fire my last round from a match, the second I fired it, I've already begun the preparation for the next match.
I like that.
So there's the last thing. I took the download, all the things that I did wrong, right, or other, and I can immediately start then saying, I got my ammo. What's the first thing I need to do before I go to a new match? I need to make sure my gun is zeroed. I'm never going to assume that the gun came out of my car from one match, went onto a wall, into a safe, maybe got cleaned, stuck somewhere, it's still zeroed. That assumption is faulty, and that has it ever moved? Yes. Is it likely to have moved? No. But I don't want to find out that it did.
Right. Exactly. So because it's interesting. This month we're actually, or this week in our Cold War 40 challenge, every week has a theme. Week 1, awareness, right? Now week 4, we're into control, right? Yeah. And so identifying or reinforcing rather, like what is inside your control and what is outside of your control, right? And where do we direct our attention? Because a lot of people direct their attention at things that are outside of their control.
Totally.
And so you're expending energy trying to manage something that you cannot control.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's interesting. The cool part about this challenge that I've noticed is that the interaction with the community has been phenomenal. Like there are people in there just like talking about everything that they're doing. People are saying, hey, this is what I did today. They're being accountable and they're like, hey man, I couldn't today. Like I just, my time got away from me. Right. And it's really cool to see people coming together, and the community that we've developed in that modern day rifleman network is nothing like anything on the internet. Everybody is there for one goal, and that is to improve. And it's not like a place on the internet where you ask a question and then you have like, a dozen people that just jump on you for being a new guy or a new person. And people don't want to ask questions. They're just like, well, then no, I'm not going to ask a question because you guys are all assholes.
Jump down my throat after I asked it.
So what, did you automatically just get bequeathed with this information like at fucking birth? You know? Give me a break, man.
Yeah.
So people
38 forums later and just remembering random things that are misaligned and incoherent. Oh yeah, it must be this.
Exactly.
And,
So everybody has the ability to come in there and ask their questions and get reasonable answers. We don't tolerate trolls. We don't tolerate any of that stuff. Really right. Good. So, but the control aspect, people, for the mind, we said, hey, what are 10 things that you can control? And what are 10 things that you can't control? And it's interesting because some people have blended the lines between shooting and life, right? They're like, oh, okay, well, like I can't control what other people think or do. Okay, well, that's true. But that's not necessarily in the world of rifle shooting, but is it when you go to compete, right? Or
it can affect your mindset and how you, like literally you walking up to a stage or your lack of willingness.
Let's talk about that. This is where I wanted the conversation to go. So I'm glad it's going there. So let's talk about this.
Yeah. I mean, I think we mentioned it, maybe it was either in this already or it was earlier when we were saying, that like when we talk about the fear response, people have a willingness to try new things, but generally only when it's low risk. Some people are very risk averse and they will not try new things because it's just, I need status quo. And so we're within your control and outside of your control. If people are afraid to look foolish, make a mistake. Do I need the right gear? Well, that guy has all the right gear. I want to look like the cool kid, or the cool person on the range, and make sure I have the right gear. I don't know exactly where that stems from, but I can say, like, at least personally, if I were to think back, when would I have been the most susceptible to that? It would have been when I was, kind of a teenager, thinking you have to look the part, act the part, because you don't want to seem like you don't know what you're doing. Like, you need to be a part of the in crowd. Everybody wants to be liked, and a fear of rejection. So it's not to go Freudian and sort of really deep psychological rooted fears, et cetera. It's really to say, if I'm nervous that, I'll use the example like Morgan King. Morgan King and Clay Blackett are on the same range in the same squad as me, and we're shooting. If I see Clay and Morgan clean a stage, do I need to be nervous? I shouldn't be, but it's almost impossible to completely remove the thought that they just cleaned it. I have to clean it in order to maintain that same advantage.
Absolutely.
So there's a fear, and thinking about other people's performance instantly ends up on my horizon if I'm not doing my job properly as a competitor.
What's your job? What is your job being done properly as a competitor?
To control everything that I output. Where are my targets? What is my plan? What's the wind? How did I shoot the last stage? What were the dynamics of the last stage? And what do I need to carry over or toss from my performance up to this moment? And I'm just tracking me. I don't care about anyone else around me within respect, right? We're not saying don't talk to people.
Sure.
We're saying there's a point to disregard outcomes from other people, because a example would be a bad outcome. Let's just say I look at a competitor who's tied with me, maybe is in my squad, so you have hyper visibility about what they're doing. They shoot before you. They get a 2 out of 10. Are you more or less likely to step up to that stage and go a little more complacent, knowing that person just dropped 8 points? Or are you going to go, I'm going to clean it?
Yeah.
You might be just this much more willing to accept, 9's fine, and just shoot a little more relaxed, because you just gained 8 points to your competitor, or you're about to, and you only gained 7. Or it's the other way around. You drop 2 and you think match is done. And no matter how you approach that, if you give yourself that, like, let's call it that out, or that fear, and how others think or look at you like everybody just saw me drop 8 points, I look like an idiot. And now all you're thinking about is how other people around you think about you. And trust me, we're all sitting around going, oh, you shot? I didn't know. We literally aren't paying attention because we're so focused on trying to figure out what we have to do next.
I agree.
So I think, honestly, I'd say somebody who says, what can you control or not control, like what other people think about you, you're absolutely right and wrong at the same time. You're right that you can't control what they think, but you can shape how they view you over time.
For
what
sure.
they think over time.
Through your behaviors and through
Correct.
mannerisms and through how you act, how you show up.
Yeah. So I like that one. in a snapshot, I actually like that one. You can't control other people, so don't try.
Yep.
Do your thing. That's what you're there for.
Yeah, that's a great point. And man, like I've battled that. Like all of the matches that I've won, I look back at the performance, and I was either not thinking about competing. I'm usually helping other people, because it's like, that's just who I am. Right. It's very difficult for me to not interact with people. Right. It's very difficult for me to just go like Iceman. That's just not my personality. It's just not it's not who I am. Now there's definitely times like when it's go time, game face is on, like skydiving in the airplane, a couple thousand feet below exit altitude. It's like, okay, like now we're going to get into the dive flow. Everybody, bullshits and chats in the airplane and stuff, laughs and jokes and shit. But at the point where it's like, okay, now we have to get ready to execute this. Right.
Yeah.
And as much fun as it is, it's still, you're jumping out of an airplane and you're relying on a piece of equipment to save your life.
Yeah.
Right. And you have other people that are out there doing the same thing that are all trying to kill you in one way, form, or another, and indirectly. Right.
Sure.
So the game face goes on, the switch gets turned on, and you get into the zone. And so, but like all the events that I've done really well on, it's effortless.
Yeah.
It's effortless.
Yeah. It should feel effortless. And the only way it can become that is if you train to it.
Yeah.
And so, and I know that's a big statement to say, like, of course we're going to train to it. Like we want it to feel, you know, so easy that like, it's like a 5-year-old could do it. That's how you want it to feel. However, does it ever feel that way?
No.
It never will.
No, it never will, because there's always the anticipation coming up. Like now, like we're both of us are looking at the conditions of what are we going to go into this weekend, right? What are we looking at for wind? What are we looking at for the environment? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be wet? Is it, you know, those are all factors. I learned at an early age, there's no such thing as bad weather, only a poor choice in clothing.
Yeah.
Right. And now that I'm out of the Marine Corps and out of the infantry, I can actually put that to practice. Right. So I don't have to pack light and freeze at night anymore. I can actually be comfortable. But, you know, you look at it and you're like, okay, well, if I'm going to go sit on a hillside for, you know, however many days and glass to try to find that one mule deer buck, if I'm not glassing, I can't find a mule deer buck, right? If the weather's so shit and I'm so underprepared that I have to be in a tent, then what's the point of even doing that? It's the same thing going out to a rifle match, right?
Totally.
You have to be prepared and you have to be able to sustain and maintain focus throughout that entire process.
It's, you know, it's funny because the first year I learned a lot about, I spent more money at the end of the first year, beginning of the second year on better gear, not the gear that I thought I was going to be buying, not rifles, not bags, literally cold weather layers, base layers, outer layers, not because I necessarily needed them, but because I recognized the one time I did, they were wrong. Like it was so bad that I'm like, I can't, and I couldn't afford to be that miserable again.
Yeah.
Because it cost me $2,000, $3,000 to attend that match when you net it all out between food, lodging, match fees, ammo, practice time.
It's a lot.
The barrel wear, all the stuff.
Yep.
There goes $2,500 to $3,000.
Yep.
All because you said that you know how to wear outdoor gear and you're going to stay warm. How do you know that? Well, because I hunt. But do you really sit on open hilltops in 9 to 12 hours a day in the rain while glassing and expending energy and moving and talking and then getting amped up and then low and then amped up and low? And then, you know the drill. It's that roller coaster isn't the same as if you're a hunter. And so I just literally assumed that my hunting gear would get me to where I want. And it does, but it's a different type of gear management than you need for just like, say, straight up hunting. Sometimes you need to strip. Like for instance, if I wear a big bulky down jacket, today it was 20 mile an hour on the top of that hill. I wore a wool, the First Light wool or merino wool over hoodie. I have a base layer, it's wool. This shirt, the furnace hoodie, and my Arc'teryx jacket.
You're basically a rain layer.
That was only because I knew we'd only be out there for 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
And on the backpack, I have another layer that I would have strapped on in between those two. And if it was any colder, when I looked at the weather, I also almost brought my down so that I would be able to make sure I want to be warm so that I like warm to too hot, because then when I'm about to shoot,
take it off
2.5 minutes before this is coming off, I'm just going to shoot and I'm practicing, you know, like what I shot today. I shot exactly what I will be shooting in the match this weekend so that I don't practice not using the exact layers that I expect to shoot in this weekend. Because if the rifle interface is different when I go add a down layer or the other layer that I have in between, I need to acclimate myself to feeling how the rifle reacts to me.
It's a sensation.
It is.
It's a sensation.
It's such small sensations that everything we do to plan, and this is just talking about how you stay warm.
Right.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
And I
detail.
I practiced the worst experience I ever had in PRS was actually me training for winter gear in August. I bought my winter gear knowing that the finale was going to be December. It was probably going to be cold. So I planned ahead. I bought all my winter gear. But how do you shoot with winter gear until it's winter? You can't. I need to go out. And so I'm like, this is going to suck, but I am going to go sweatbox and make sure that this jacket and this shirt.
Trying to make weight.
I need to make sure I can actually even manipulate my gear and find the failure mechanisms now before I need to go actually do it. So yeah, I sweated. I don't know. It was brutally stupid, but I had to throw all my gear on, and a buddy of mine happened to show up. He's like, "What are you doing?" And then he saw me put it on, shoot a couple rounds, take it right off. He goes, "Oh, you're going to the finale." I'm like, "Yeah." So I was like, just an easy way for me to test a brand new system.
Right.
Where I couldn't afford to wait until the time
You're right.
of success was required. No, I can fail now, be a little uncomfortable, whatever. But I'll know that the rifle doesn't recoil goofy. I don't see something different because I under stress, I don't want to find out in the finale.
Yeah, as soon as
it's
disrupted, right? As soon as that loop is disrupted by anything, right? Whether it be a rifle issue where you get one cartridge case that's a little oversized in the base and it takes a little bit more effort to extract the cartridge, that just enough is like, why did that happen?
Yeah, and you're kimsing that for the rest of the stage.
Yeah, and you're just
maybe even the next stage.
Yeah, and you're like, am I going to get that again? Am I ready to get that again? like, and it just throws you out of your loop, and that's very impactful. So, have you ever had how do you deal with, have you ever dealt with some things like imposter syndrome or anything with like
Yeah. I won a lot of one-day matches while I was in my first 3 years. I think I shot mostly one-days for the first 3. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 years. I mean, also shot pro matches. But when I got my first win as a pro series level, I remember thinking, yeah, I was going to win. And like the next day going, I don't know if I'll actually win again. Like literally feeling like I don't think I can replicate this success. That is a struggle. Like that is really hard. It was not just at the win, actually. It happened in a little bit different framework when I got my first podium, my first 5th place trophy at a first pro match. And I thought, oh, I made it here, but maybe this was just a fluke. And I really had to fight past this like urge to say like, I'm not as good as I think I am or other. Like, and it is a real problem. You just go, look, it doesn't matter what you think you are. All it's going to matter is that do you have a fundamental skill that you need to improve today? Yeah. Cool. Go practice it. Go figure it out and be better tomorrow than you were today, and figure out if you're an imposter when you're dead. Like literally, who cares?
Yeah.
And that was literally that was one of the harder parts about this sport to kind of get over, because you see people, I was shooting with Dave Preston in like one of my first few matches, and I had to sort of overcome that innate awe and then go like, how do I like it was, I didn't know a lot of people in the sport when I first started, but I had heard and seen like Dave is one of the OGs of this sport. And I got to watch him shoot. And that really was cool. It was April of 2019, April or May, Buckeye Invitational, TV at Thunder Valley Precision. Have you ever seen Dave Preston shoot?
I don't think so.
It is still like, it's one of the coolest memories. And like, he's a friend of mine, but I would argue that he was the reason I ended up becoming so fast. He is the OG Nick Godarzi, Jake Millard, and you shoot with those guys out here quite a bit. You know, Nick is so smooth.
He's super smooth. Yep.
But he's
and Jake
fast,
is wicked
and
fast.
Jake is wicked fast. So Dave is Jake and Nick and like OG. That's
all combined.
Yeah, same thing. He just takes a big step because he's pretty tall. He's in place and gets on the rifle and then sends a bolt. Next one, he moves over and you think he's going to time out, and he's done with 30 seconds left.
That's Nick.
That was my first like real experience, was watching a professional level shooter and getting to, so this is what professional looks like. And not knowing what that really meant at the time, because that didn't really exist at the time. It was just, it's a PRS match and he's one of the best. That experience gave me a new, now I was nervous. Like, when you now place a podium and imagine that you're right up next to this guy, dude, not that guy. Like he's so good and looks so graceful behind it. And this is coming from somebody who spent 8-10 years working with people on golf, where you watch the most gorgeous swings, like absolutely, like literally like motion art, an art in motion, right? Just poetry, with hitting a shot and executing it flawlessly, straight to a pin 175 yards away. And you go, this dude can do that over and over and over and over, and it looks awesome. Then you see this others where it doesn't look so good, but it's just as effective.
Got it. Yeah.
I was thinking that is me. I have to look the part. I have to act the part. And you get a podium and you're like, I didn't expect it that early. I'm not that guy. That I had to fight through.
Yeah, for sure. So. Yeah. I've always, for me, fighting through it, it's like competition was never something that I actually like super chased after. I would go shoot a match if I had the time and opportunity to do it. And I looked at shooting a match as more of like a, you know, a validation or a verification of, you know, where are my skills at right now. And I used to be able to rely on talent. I've said this before, and win and just show up and win matches. Like where we're going to go shoot this weekend. The first time I shot there, I won the match. I'd never shot there before, and I won by a pretty decent margin. And it was that event. I had no idea, right? I knew I was shooting well. I knew I was maybe bleeding a point here or 2 points there or whatever, but I don't, like, in my mind, I think maybe it's just because of the professional background, where it's like, just focus on the task at hand. And once that's over with, it's over with. Now we're going to focus on the next task at hand. And you're just going to take the stages as they come. And I've never been one to like count points. I've never been one to be like, you know, thinking about, well, if that person dropped 3, then I can only shoot this much. Or my brain doesn't, it's not that it doesn't work that way. It's that I haven't ever put myself into a position where it needs to work that way.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And so now it's like, one of the things that I do want to do, like, I feel like at this point in time in my life, I've gotten to a position where I could probably go direct the attention, like we were talking about earlier. It's like, what does it actually take to go do that? What does it take to go win a championship? Like what level of effort and expenditure of time, energy, money, and do you have all of those resources available to you to do that? And I feel like I'm at that point in time in my life where I can. And I do. I want to chase a championship in 27 and 28.
That'll be cool.
So that's, and I understand it's going to take a mindset shift. It's going to take a mindset shift. And like right now I'm a sponge. I'm trying to learn everything that I possibly can when it comes to that. Like the marksmanship aspect of things, I feel like I got a pretty decent handle on.
Yeah.
The reading the conditions, I feel like I got a pretty decent handle on that. It's the mindset, and then the aspect of understanding the point structure and the strategy behind those things that I have to learn.
Yeah, it's the game within the game.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and the game within the game is like, it's like the meta and then the anti-meta, right? So you have, you know, like video gaming. There's always that one setup, the class setup. If you ever played COD or Call of Duty, there's this class setup. It's the one that everybody's just beaming with, and everybody's just, this is what you use. And somebody figures out the thing that sort of counters that, and suddenly the anti-meta appears, and the anti-meta is now dominant, and the anti-meta becomes the meta. It's a weird principle, but it does actually exist. And it's funny, in PRS, it's kind of like the cartridge choice.
Right.
Versus the average engagement range versus the win condition. And that, you know, hey, I'm going to shoot a 6 BR or a 6 dasher because, hey, it's lower recoil and I can see everything, and I have to work less hard, and it groups so tight that you just can't avoid not having a one whole group. Well, what if that particular match, that venue, or even your skill set or your eyes or your physical gear, your equipment would be better suited to a 6.5. And I found that for me.
Yeah.
I actually think I shoot both. The demands I have on myself with a 6.5 are different than the demands I have on a dasher. This isn't a good thing, but it means I have to actually train to shoot a 6.5, whereas a BR or a dasher, I don't necessarily have to train to feel like I see the exact same shot. But then at some range, let's say somewhere around 600 yards, a dasher quickly, a 6mm will quickly become harder and harder to see, because we have two things happening. Range is increasing. What increases with range on average? Target size.
And target size.
Target size. And a heavy target, what happens with range on the bullet energy? It decays. So if velocity decays, energy decays. If energy decays, the signature on the target is lower. The bigger the target, the smaller the signature. The bigger the target with the smaller the bullet, the even smaller the signature.
Right.
So I'm like, where is my average engagement range? Well, between 400 and 800 yards. So if my bulk of my points are between 6 and 8, and I'm starting to lose visibility on a 6mm, maybe I should hedge my bet towards that 6 to 8 range so I can get a better read. That's the meta. Like when I say that's the game within the game, that is the spending a season analyzing your performance and figuring out where the weaknesses have occurred. Where did you drop your points? Where did you give away opportunities that were within your control that you can train to, but what are the ones that you can't quite figure out why you lost the points, but you know it wasn't the win per se, or you shouldn't have let it hit you with a win. That is an example of the game within the game that forced me to try to up my game by going to 6.5.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I think having like, what do you feel about, because where is the sport right now? Like the scoring systems and things, like I need to learn more about that. But in terms of just like the picking the right sword for the job, right?
Yeah.
Picking the right tool for the job. So at what point in time do you think this is going to go into like multiple rifles?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't think so? You think so? I broached that subject with a couple people, and then like some people are just like, no, it'll never happen. It'll never happen.
I'm not going to say it'll never happen, but I already think so I'll back up and say, when I first started this, it was pick a rifle, and it was always a 6.5 Creed. I just happened to have that. Then it became, you can do better with a 6mm. Try the 6XC. Thanks, Craig, if you happen to be watching this. The 6mm gave me a huge performance jump. All of a sudden, I saw everything. It was wild.
Right.
And then I saw into the first quarter of the next year that my performances were good, but not great. And there's no good reason for that. But I don't like this cartridge. It's too hard to size. I'm going to go to a different 6mm. And at some point, I'm like, well, maybe I do need a bigger bullet for this and a smaller bullet for that. And I started tailoring the cartridge, the round, and the speed for a given match and venue. So put that in a bucket and imagine all the time, energy, effort, et cetera, that I would spend on doing that. And I'm going to say that was hundreds of hours to try to learn a new bullet, learn a new cartridge, learn a new load, build a new rifle, have 2 barrels, spin them out, all the things. And now I grab a 6.5 Creed, I load it with a 140 hybrid with the same amount of powder every single time. And 6 barrels, I haven't changed the load once. And I just say it's a 140 hybrid with, we'll say high 30s of N150 loaded to 2.800 inches to 2.820 inches. I only go to 280 if I happen to be loading for an AR. Otherwise, if it's not, it's 2.820. I just leave it there. Send those rounds. I haven't done that, and that's what I've used for the last 2 years.
Right, and nothing's changed. Yeah.
Now imagine all the effort that I put into all those chasing calibers and cartridges and changes. All of that effort, unfortunately, was not for nothing, because it taught me that it gave me the value proposition. Doing all that, what did I gain? Not much, at least not tangibly. I still ended up placing well and not well. So going to a 6.5, what did I gain? All the time that I gave away. And now what I can do at that time is anything else I want.
Right.
Does that mean,
yep, it totally makes sense.
It's literally the anti-meta in that bucket. I just went simplification, focus on other things, ignore the stuff that you can't control. And it gave me all the time back. I'm happier. I have more time at home. I can do things with my job and I not feel so stressed. I can go, oh yeah, I just got to load some ammo.
Yes.
I don't have to learn a new cartridge, a new system, forget which one's in my Kestrel, all the things.
Yep, exactly. I agree with that, man. I shot an ATXC all season, last season, for both like work as well as the matches that I shot. I'm on my 3rd 6.5 barrel with it, and the same thing, same load, same everything. It doesn't change from barrel to barrel to barrel. And it's there's something to be said for that, knowing that it's just going to work and you don't have to worry about anything else. And there's no surprises. There's no like, whoa, what's going on with this? You know it. You don't have to, like you said, learn a new system each and every time. And I think that's important, because like you said, it's the expenditure of time needs to be extremely focused on specific efforts. And it can't, you only have so much time in the day. Like, time is our most valuable commodity in this life, right? So don't waste it.
Yeah, SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Well, same thing affects whether or not we're choosing the right things to work on. And so, like you said, Hayes, as a weapon system, the coolest byproduct of going to one system has been, I'm actually willing to accept much less now in terms of performance out of the rifle, because I recognized how much the performance is actually out of me.
Right.
It's so counterintuitive.
That's a mechanical object, right?
Yeah, it's going to do what it's going to do.
It's going to do what it's going to do.
This is its dispersion pattern. I'm okay with up to a 1/2 inch group. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to kick it out of bed, because I've done this so many times. I know that it is possible, and that it is not me on a given bullet out of a break in a barrel, 40 5-shot groups. Am I going to see all .25s out of that stack of 5-shot groups?
Probably not.
No. I know you won't. Like I know I will not. Whether or not it's skill or weapon or system, the empirical number is 300 or 315. I'm 15 thousandths of an inch on average for every barrel I've run. They've been plus or minus 15 thousandths of an inch to the average group size over of the first 200 rounds. And it's like, I don't change the load. I don't do anything. And why is that important? It doesn't mean that all my groups are 0.3 inches. It means that my center of my average group is at 0.3 inches, as small as a 1, and as large as about a 0.5 to a 0.6. But I'm only expecting to see 1 or 2 0.6s and a couple of 0.1s. As long as the middle is. And so if I see a half, some people will train down to those halves and get like worked up. Dude, it shot like a half to 3/4 minute group.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I just had a particular barrel shoot almost a mil low for 3 shots out of 100 and went, whoa. But I've also seen that before. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to try it. I'm not super worried. If this goes away, I'm good. If it doesn't go away, okay, then I don't use the barrel.
Right.
It went away. It won the AG Cup.
Very well.
That is the level of willingness to focus on yourself and the process more than you're willing to try to chase gear and perfection.
Agreed.
It's not going to pay you a long-term dividend.
What rifle cartridge did you shoot the AG Cup with?
6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay.
140 hybrid.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Just an old standby.
Yeah. Well,
nothing fancy, right?
Yeah, it works. I have a 135 A-tip recipe for the Creedmoor that just like that thing just shoots. It just shoots lights out. And it's one of those that like students are always asking, well, what's the difference between a custom rifle and like, a pre-fit barrel or factory ammo versus hand-loaded ammo? And I'm like, have you ever shot a really well-tuned like rifle with hand loads? And they're like, no. And then you put them on a PRS rig.
Yeah. Go
dump 5 rounds into that 1 MOA plate at $1,000. And they're like, I don't know. And sure as shit, they do it. And you're like, can you do that with that system shooting factory ammo and, an off the shelf rifle? Maybe you get a good one. Maybe you don't.
It's risk.
And then they're like, man, that's super different. And I'm like, yes, what you just witnessed was the difference. Right there.
And then the thing what's really cool is Chad and I formed a really cool partnership around how we developed what we ended up shooting. In that Chad builds the barrels. I tend to do a lot of like the sciencey type stuff to experiment, and so does he. But when we have something where he's like, I'm not sure, we should test this or we should look at this, I'll think through it, try something. Hey, here, do this, see what you get as a result. And if we end up at the same result, it's probably a good thing. Mm-hmm. So this is all kind of full circle to say, when we try to figure out, I don't want to work upstream constantly to develop, I need this new cartridge, Chad. I need you to get a new reamer and go to this other thing. And I need you to bump it this amount or that amount because it's going to get me, I think it's going to get me this. You know how many rounds I have to fire and how many barrels I have to test? Just to see the
statistical viability of that.
Kind of viable.
Yeah.
Or else it's just a psychological boost. It's a complete placebo effect.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more placebo effects than we may otherwise give ourselves credit for when we just do a sample of 1, 2, 3, 4 of something.
Yeah.
28 or 30 barrels. I don't know what I'm at now. High 20s that have, had at my house that have been used in competition. And all of them have shot exactly the same. I don't have to change loads. I don't have to change barrels. And I know that they do everything they're supposed to, for the context of a PRS match. Mm-hmm. 0.3 inch average group, plus or minus a quarter of a minute, quarter of an inch.
Yep.
And that's it. Beyond that, I don't worry about it.
How long has it been since you've been solely focused on the Creedmoor?
2 years and some change.
Okay.
Dasher. It was middle of 24. Okay. I started recognizing that it was 24. It was the first year I went to Night Force. So the Night Force ELR match, I ran that in 25. 24, so 23. So it would have been, it started as a result of going to the Night Force ELR match in 2023. Pretty sure that was the year. I had to learn how to use a Norma in a hurry because I got one. We were going to go shoot the Night Force match. Basically a free spot came up and they're like, hey, we need you to work at this when I was at AB. So I'm like, okay, here's a rifle. It's 2.5, 3 weeks before the match. Go figure it out. And literally. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to, you're working kind of in the industry. You don't want to show up and be unprepared because I don't do that. I do that for a living kind of, like, meaning I do shoot for a living now and then, but it was different when you're going to like represent a company and you're trying to win a match.
Yes.
So brand new rifle, brand new cartridge, brand new gear, test it, do well. And as soon as I did well, I finished third, if I remember, third open in that match, first time. It's the after part that was cool. I got back and immediately won like the next 1 or 2 matches. I placed like first, second, third, or like something like very close. And I have to look back at the exact. But I remember noticing I could see everything easy.
Because you shot a Norma
I just shot 500, 800 rounds of Norma in a week or 2.
Yeah.
That made everything feel simple. And then I went, wait a second. If a Norma prepares me to shoot a 6.5 and everything I just shot was super easy with a dasher, well, what if I just shoot a Norma and shoot a 6.5? I can see more. And this kind of led
versus
to that.
6.5 dasher.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So I basically did that. And I spent the fall preparing for the AG Cup shooting a 6.5 instead of a 6. And so I said, let me just commit to this because this can't not work. I've already seen the results if I do it a little. So let me just keep trying it. And that's done that ever since. It was just easier for me to run a 6.5, see in that last, 6, 7, 8, more 7, 8, 8 plus. I see more on plate. I see the splash. I see it twisting. I see the dirt splash a little easier. I can work a little less hard. I have to work more consistently on the rifle. But what I see, the part that I remember, the things you can control, the things you can't control. I can control the weight of the round I'm sending down range and where I want it to go. But I can't control whether the dirt explodes or not. I can hedge the bet by saying that there's a bigger thing to make the dirt explode or a smaller thing.
Yep.
Now it's just, well, do I want to work as hard as I need to with a 6 versus a 6.5? Well, yeah, that's within my control. I'm going to go control it and just get better with heavier recoil.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. I mean, so I did a training day with Nick a little while back, and I was like, man, it was a headspace issue for me, but I was like, I also needed to get spun up on like how to train, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, I just wanted to see how somebody trained. I needed an outside the box look, and I don't want to be in an echo chamber, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to get yourself out of that and ask questions. And so I was like, hey, Nick, can I come out and shoot with you for a day or whatever? And so I went out to his range in Spokane, and like you said, the only thing that we worked, that's the reason that those 2 small targets are out there, those little like half MOA guys. And pretty much that's all we did was work for an entire day on, a half MOA target at 250 yards. He was just like, hey, if you can see where your bullet goes at 250,
exactly,
that's all that matters. And I was like, yeah, okay, there's some, I can see that. Right. So all we did was he just sat behind me with a pair of binos, and he just said, tell me where every single one of them goes. And we're just working on recoil control, just working on the little tiny little tweaks. Like you were talking about recoil control. I'm a big proponent of, I don't necessarily need the reticle to return, like to return exactly to the target. Sometimes I want it away so that way I can see.
Agreed.
Right. And so it's like, I just want the recoil to be predictable so that my mind knows where to look in the field of view to see what I need to see.
Yes.
Because I only have, fractions of a second to collect that information and process it.
Yep. And that's where like Gladwell, Blink, that book, it's thin slicing, the art of thin slicing. It's making decisions rapidly without conscious thought. We have to do that 200 times in a match weekend. Bang. And we might see the plate, but if you slow it down, you hit the left side, the plate starts to turn. A plate that hits, the extent of a backer or the extent of the hanger.
What's it doing?
50% on the first, and then a full 100 to get back because it goes through. So half the limit is found, bangs off that limit, goes to the front, and now it's going to do full limit. It's going to
wag a little bit.
The first motion is half the time frame or less of any of the other motions you're going to see.
Okay.
Because it's 50% of the motion if it's an edge. So I found really quickly that, hey, I need to practice like thinking and processing just what was it left? Like, and it's sort of like spitting out what I thought it was and then somehow checking my work later.
Okay.
That makes sense. Because I needed to frame that around. My brain I can't question. I don't have the time to question what I saw. I just have to find out, what do I take the information available? You're never going to see it again.
Right.
Best guess. this. Okay, well, how can I hedge the decision I make before the stage so I'm not relying on a 50-50 if I'm not sure? Well, what if I just always air a wind call when I'm not sure to one side or the other, the upwind side or the downwind side, just so I can, if I miss, I'm going to presume that the miss happened here, so that if I see a flick and I'm not sure, I can just assume that I hit that downwind or upwind side, whichever one I committed to beforehand. I'm either right or I'm wrong. I'm probably not going to change too much if it's hitting. I'm not going to make much of a change, but it might tell me which way to go. You see my point here?
I do. Yeah.
It is, the details are sometimes super numerous in PRS because it is all about let's call it the 5 to 50 milliseconds, 5 out, take a half a second, quarter second down range. And in that quarter to half second range, that's the part you're trying to pick up as much information as you humanly can.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you think about it, like if you're watching your bullet impact a plate, like truly watching it, right? That means that you've been able to go through your entire shot sequence, press the trigger, catch the recoil, follow through, recover, maintain a sight picture, and see that. And that's happening in 0.25 seconds at 250.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there that's impressive, right? That's impressive. And then if you can see it there, you can certainly see it with more time of flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big, I've always been a big proponent of shooting paper. But that was a very valuable training day with him, just to and he taught me a couple of different methods of moving my rifle around that were much more efficient.
Yeah.
And, it was definitely a very valuable training day.
Yeah. Do you, so I learned that same drill on seeing impacts and actually started doing it 5, 4, 3, 2.
You go
the reverse drill. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have access to it, you can, meaning if you have, it was probably the coolest thing to help me learn how to see on a plate versus not knowing, if I just started at 250, I couldn't see anything. Started at 3, I couldn't see anything.
I see what you're saying.
So I'd start at 5, hit and I would shoot center. Oh yeah, I hit it. Try to hit the left or right edge. What did it look like?
Okay.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Intentionally move it around.
Come to 4. But ooh, that's a little faster. But I see it. Okay, cool. It's right there. Move to 3. Ooh, I didn't see that. Ooh, I didn't see that. Okay,
cool.
Why aren't you seeing it? What? Okay, so the breakdown is between 3 and 4. Now I can either go look up time of flight. Okay, what do I have to settle? Where's my reticle stopping? Well, how much pressure am I have on it? Go back to 4. Do I see it? Yes. What do you need to see at 5% faster, better, cleaner, easier at 4? Let's go to 350. Find your real limit, whatever that number is, if you have access to it. And I used that for the better part of my first season, just so I could train my brain, because you can learn to train your brain at 5. Mm-hmm. Easy to see. Mm-hmm. You can train your brain at 4. But what if 300 yards is just inside of your ability to actually interpret what's happening? Mm-hmm. That means, what if you worked at 326 and 310 is I can't do it, but 326 is I can barely do it.
Yeah.
And then what if it's 310? I can't tell. That's exactly how I trained my brain to find that threshold limit of brain processing.
All right.
Yeah, it was backward.
Okay. You can do the same thing with individual, trying to find your individual time standard on what does it take to actually, how quickly can I move into a position?
Correct.
Get settled and break a clean shot. Right? How long does that take? And it's intro students, we shoot a drill that Jacob came up with, the 21 dot drill. We shoot that in our class, and it usually, the first time students do it, they're just like, are you serious? 6 seconds? And you demo it and you're like, yeah, I'm usually breaking them in about 5.5, 5.7, somewhere in there. But any faster than 5.5, 5.7, I'm going to miss, right? It's just too much. It's too fast. I'm pushing too hard, and I'm either going to crush the trigger or my sight picture is not going to be proper, right? Either which way, the bullet's not going where it needs to. So that's beyond the threshold. So we got to ratchet it back.
Yeah.
Only the hits count. And I tell people hey, to try to figure out your own individual time standards, get a shot timer, no par time, just a start time, 10 shots, but only count the shots that hit. right? Maybe you're working on standing to prone. Maybe you're working on standing to a standing barricade. Maybe you're working on standing to a kneeling barricade, whatever that case is. Do that same thing 10 times, maybe more, depends on what you're at, and then average those times out. Take a second off that average, and that's your training standard, right? Train to that until it's easy to get your hits, and then reevaluate yourself. Do that all over again, no par, and then see where you progress. And people usually they'll generally see a pretty substantial increase in speed up until they get a certain point. And then it's like, man, now it's like half a seconds.
Yeah. Quarters.
Yeah. Because it's like that time is just slowing down, but the quarter second is the half to a quarter second increment. It's all you can get. It's all you can get.
Yeah. Well, it was like the speed drill that we talked about where you go fast, slow. And we went over down the range, right? My initial, when I first started that, I was running PRS skill stages in 45-ish to 50 seconds and worked my way all the way down under those same scenarios to get to the easy low 20s. I cut 50% of my time off of a PRS skill. It still sounds ridiculous to me to say this. But when I would transition from dry fire to live fire, stress it super hard. I can do 5% better. Oh, no, I can't. I can do 1% better. Cool. But I can do 1% better tomorrow. And it's going to take me 30 tries, but I'll find 1%. What felt different? And motorcycles, why did that feel different? Like as soon as you hook up like a corner the right way and you find the slip angle that's just right, like it's at the limit of traction. Why does that feel different and so much faster? When you find like, oh, I'm not floating the brake or grabbing the brake and overloading the suspension. It's a smooth but smart transition. Same thing with the driver. What does the sweet spot actually feel like on a driver? Not just a little toey. Well, is it really the sweet spot you want? Or do you get the most performance out of this slight forward high toe, which is where you actually usually get the best distance? It's just off of the physical center of the club. You have to work to find all of those tiny, tiny marginal gains. And it's not that any one of them is going to win you a match. It's that the sum of all of them,
all together
might give you a chance to put together your best performance on a day where everyone else's best performance still isn't up to the task.
Just wasn't good enough. Yeah. Yeah. And then the aspect of luck involved as well in terms of the conditions. There's still
100%.
There's still luck in this game, right?
Oh,
It all depends on, all the conditions and where you stack up. Man, I got hammered out, one year we were shooting out here at, Benge farm out range. Now it's the farm out range. But there was the long range stage for my squad was the last stage of the day and it was facing west.
Ooh.
I literally could not find a target to shoot. This is just glare. We had, everybody was like trying to help each other out with shades and stuff and try to block the glare. And it's just like, I can't shoot if I can't see. I'm not just going to, I'm not winging anything out there. And so it's like 10 points out the door. And it's just like, dude, that super sucks. That super sucks. But that's just the way that's the way that cookie crumbled on that particular day. That's just the way that was. So.
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny because if I hear that story, the first thing I think is, well, it's not on my control. No, you're right. It isn't in your control, but could you and have you since ever gone in to see if you could find a solution to a point where you are looking at the sun? What can you do? Could you throw a schmog over the front to try to reduce inbound light, even if it's shit?
Like, even if you just get a little bit, just a little.
And like I've done that with a hat.
Yep.
I've done that with my hoodie. Like I've had it where, the glare coming out of a left, especially like coming into your left eye when you generally shoot one eye open. This is bad, or it's coming into this side, or right side. So, tilting the hat, covering the scope, putting a schmog on, sand, wind, rain, dirt, mud.
All of it.
It does, but this is literally the question I've had, and I'm not saying that example, but these are the extents that like the guys who honestly do really well will generally go right back home and figure out one thing.
Why did that happen?
Like even if it's not my control, but so what happens if it is in my control? Like what could I do to overcome and defeat that one time that the match director and maybe my nearest competitor we both stood on the same stage at the same time. Actually, this did happen at AG Cup. Now that I think about it, we had one of these. The sun was setting at just the right point over a lake. It hit the lake ripples just right to literally beam the sun, the perfect Georgia sun right into your eyeballs. And I mean into your eyeballs. And there was a moment, it was like, everybody's shooting, a couple of guys are shooting. It's like, this is like, it's blinding me. I can't, if you look through an optic, you're magnifying all of that light coming off of a lake right below a target. Here's the target, here's the lake. You're literally looking at 50% of it. I watched, I don't remember who it was that was shooting at the time now, but I remember looking over and seeing like you could see how the pupil, the exit pupil was lighting up his iris.
Oh, okay.
White.
Oh, wow.
Like an eye doctor coming in with a flashlight.
Yeah.
Not all of his face, the literal light spot on his pupil. I'm like, dude, I don't think this is safe. So I put on sunglasses and I see this happening live and went, this is bad. I'm going to put on sunglasses and I'm going to zoom way out to see how that looks on my gun. So I get on my gun, I look at it, and I'm like, that's worse. I zoom all the way in, trying to reduce the exit pupil and try to take as little light as possible. Took a piece of tape and made a split skin and just tried to say, okay, where does that become usable? It's not great, but it's usable here. And I can block most of the light. I could probably, the alternative is not see a single thing anyway. Here, I might see something.
Yep. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You got to try.
Yeah, and luckily it just came out of the way. Plus the wind, it was literally the perfect storm. Sun angle and wind had changed the lake to have the ripples. They were mirroring just the right surface back to the shooters. The wind changed 5 degrees and it went away. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about that.
Yep, that's the luck aspect of it for sure.
Yeah, luckily I didn't have to shoot in that, but it got worse right after me, and then I didn't have to use my sunglass result.
Right.
But
so, Francis, you got started. So talk to me about like how you got started in shooting. Like you grew up in Michigan, and you grew up in a hunting family. So you had an introduction to marksmanship at some point in time in your young life.
Yeah.
Probably not anything formal.
No, it was just like,
where did you learn how to shoot? Where did you learn the foundational principles of marksmanship?
That's a good. So, just shooting a rifle from my dad, hunting, getting to the point where I'm at now. Self-taught. And it's I'm going to say asterisk self-taught. I learned from guys like you, from Sniper's Hide, from videos that I could watch from anybody, Jacob Bynum, anybody who would freely give away things like this podcast. But 10 years ago, it wasn't as much a thing.
No, it wasn't.
So I begged, borrowed, and steal. It's like beg, borrow, steal, learn, usurp anything you can to try to get 5%. A little marginal gain. And at the time you feel like I can conquer the world now. I'm good. I just learned the thing. And then you go do it and you realize it didn't really change. It's not repeatable over time. But it was honestly self-taught for the vast majority of it. But I will also say, as much as I thought I knew early on, I didn't, like we all do. If I could only know 5, 6, 7 years ago what I know now, I would have changed my approach to training even back then. Sure. Yeah. Massively. Because you have to make all those mistakes, figure out, and then hopefully you're lucky enough to find success. And then you go, ooh, those mistakes were bad. Or you're smart enough to say, I'm going to take a class and find first order principles that actually work and trim out, save time, not have to stumble 4 or 5 times and fail 4 or 5 times with bad information or bad training techniques, and just end up with the right ones. That's what these podcasts and then what you're doing, what instructors are doing is trying to get people the right information at the right time to shorten their learning curve. That's it. Yeah. I just want to shorten the learning curve. I want people to get to where they want to be as fast as possible without skipping steps, without skipping really important steps to understand, like to build a good foundational base. So let's talk sight pictures. What do you look at with your center focused vision when you are ready to break a shot? What are you looking at? Ready to break. I am first aligning my reticle find the target, align the reticle to the target on center. Know I'm going to hit center. I take that rough shape. Where's the point on the reticle that I want to use for a wind hold? Okay. Drag that to the center of my target. Say, yes, that's my point. And I'm always staring directly at the reticle while keeping and framing, kind of think like sight picture hazy. I know this laptop exists, but I'm focused on the reticle and centering it on the back image of the target and I'm just it feels like my eyes are going near, far, near, far, near, far. But all I'm doing is saying I have a referential edge. Is this the right spot? Yes, there's the reference. Send it. It's between the shoulders, or it's, it's on the edge. Coyotes, I will find the smallest possible thing that I can physically see, discern as a center reference, and try to hide it behind whatever I'm using as a wind hold.
Okay.
It's an easier way for me to do it than focusing on a whole target. So maybe it's a dot, or it's a paint splash, or it's a color transition, or it's the intersection of a shoulder prone. And I have this, when I get like the really fun days are the ones on a mod prone troop line, like a K&M type troop line where it's mirage-y. You're comfortable and slow, but you get all the zoom. And when it goes right, you literally just feel like you're guiding these little copper grenades into exactly where they're supposed to be on sub grenades. 1 MOA targets.
Yeah.
Just, transition. Now, 0.5 this way. Yeah, right there. I mean, it's literally so.
Yeah.
I can see the 3 to 4 times that I've done that at K&M where that place is so immaculate, but it has so much mirage that you also drop
the grass.
Everything about it. Dropping around on a target off his upper right range, the UKD, where they're all skylined, and you have no option but to know exactly where they hit, because if you miss, they're into the ether.
Yep.
You don't see anything.
You probably can't see trace, right? Or you can't see the top of the trace.
You see it go out.
And that's it.
And then got it. And then yes.
Yeah. So I had an interesting experience. I had a student come out to a class, this was years ago, and very unassuming guy. And people who've listened to the podcast, they've heard the story before, but he used to work for Proof Research as on their pro staff, and a bunch of their staff came out to a class. Other range, I had one range that was like, that's like 50 miles east of here.
Okay.
Towards Prosser, right, where we're going to be shooting this weekend.
Oh, cool.
But kind of out in like no man's land in the desert, kind of in the rolling hills. But give them the class, long range time. Students, a lot of times I find that students have the best learning opportunities when it's like discovery learning time. It's like, hey, go have some open range time. Just be mellow and just enjoy some time shooting your rifle, right? You'll probably learn a lot more than just having something like super regimented, right? Take everything that we've learned to this point and just go have fun. So I turn around and I see this one dude out there in the offhand with a rifle, and I can see the direction he's pointing, and he's pointing up the hill. And I'm like, I know that those targets out there are like 800 plus. And he looks at one, and you see him settle into his position, and he breaks a shot, and he hits target, puts the rifle down. I was like, holy shit, dude. So he puts the rifle down, does something else, picks it back up, picks another target, dials dope, boom, sends another shot, impact. I was like, holy shit, dude. So it puts the rifle down, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll talk to Cody about that later. And so we complete the course, and he calls me up a couple weeks later, and he's like, hey man, I had a really good time. But I got to ask you a couple questions. And he goes, what do you look at when you shoot? Like, what do you look at? The target or the reticle? And I was like, the reticle. And he was like, are you sure? And now I'm like, well, fuck, now I'm not sure. Now I got to go check, right? I don't know. Am I? Because now my brain's putting together what he was doing. And I'm just like, okay, he's trying to tell me something that, he's trying to teach me something. And come to find out, he was an Olympic shooter. Yeah. And all, standing, I guess sometimes people call it offhand, sometimes people call it freehand, whatever the case is. But to be good at that,
it's a totally different
skill. It's a whole different ball game, right? And so he was talking about focusing on the target.
Yes.
And capitalizing on the body's proprioceptors to keep the rifle pointed where it needs to be pointed, and then basically not allowing the subconscious mind to press the trigger.
Yes.
The conscious mind has to press the trigger, because if the subconscious mind presses it, you're going to have a startle response to what's going to happen. That little
Trying to not let it waver that little bit.
right.
Yes.
You have to disconnect the subconscious, and you have to be in complete control of the trigger finger and literally tell it what to do. And he said, just go to the range and just shoot, and tell me, like, shoot from the prone where it's super solid, right? You don't have any wobble, right? And then tell me what you look at. Tell me what your focus is. And then he said, get into a position where you have some wobble, right? You get some reticle movement, whether it's, kind of a wobbly prop or barricade, because PRS, this was 14. So PRS was just kind of formative time type frame. People were starting to figure out, like, a lot, rifles were not what they are today.
Yeah.
Right. So, trying to find stability, balancing stability and speed. And so I noticed as soon as I put wobble into the target, if I chased the reticle, if I looked at the center point of the reticle as it was moving on the target, I would punch the trigger every single time.
Yeah.
Every time. And then a moving target, the same thing. I fired up the mover. And I noticed that if I focused on the reticle, if I focused on that lead point, I would always either anticipate the shot and shoot in front of the target, or I'd be behind it because I don't want to anticipate, but now I'm on the other end of it.
Yeah.
And so I had this experience, and I called him back, and I was like, okay, dude, like, talk to me. Like, what is this? Like, what are you talking about here? And that sent me down a huge rabbit hole about, like, how we see, like, what we see, what we point at, and then something completely ridiculous. The secret to the perfect high five. Do you know what the secret to the perfect high five is?
Don't think about it.
Look at the elbow.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you look at the elbow, your brain knows where this hand's going to be. Right?
That's interesting.
It's like the same concept of, like, if you and I, like, the first time we met, like, I looked at you in the eye and I shook your hand.
Yeah.
Your hand met mine. Like, it's proprioception. Your body knows where it is, right? So then he's like, apply that to shooting. I was like, well, son of a bitch.
It's funny because I look at the reticle, but like I said, I'm dancing back and forth. But the reason I pick super small aim point, if I have to cover, like, I'm focusing at the small thing, and if it gets
covered by the reticle, as soon
as it's hidden by the thing, I know it's where it's supposed to be.
Good point. Absolutely, to your point, 100%.
Yeah, because big thing and IPSC, and I just need the center to be there. I have to use the peripheral of all the other stuff
to make sure it's in the center.
Like circle and circle, we're really good, generally speaking, at concentric circles as humans.
Yeah, putting them in a circle.
So yeah, bore sighting. You can bore sight a gun relatively easy by going front of muzzle, rear of objector or chamber, assuming it's actually, like, not curved or bent. There's actually quite easy to bore sight a rifle and get very precise.
Really close, yeah.
Same thing if you crosshair, and plus it's a little less so, but then you can circle and circle, or the intersection at the top of a triangle.
Yep.
You start to, as you get closer and closer, your error gets smaller and smaller, so you have less and less error, and then at some point,
smallest aim point possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hiding a thing with
that's the tough part. Yeah.
Is the same thing as, like, looking at target focus. Because if I take the smallest possible aim point of target and I go to a quarter MOA target, and I'm using like the thickest reticle you can't
see the target.
Then you're on the target.
Yeah, that's
as good
it.
as you're going to get.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was an eye opener for me, and it dramatically changed my shooting. Just like, and then movers became a different animal as well, because the Marine Corps did a moving target study. I forget what year it was done. It was a ways back, but the Marine Corps was like, hey, how do we, like, we need to analyze how we teach people how to shoot moving targets.
Yeah.
Where is the best point? Is this center? Are we leading from center, or are we leading from the lead edge? And the unanimous decision from the study was that the lead edge was the most identifiable portion of the target, because that's what's breaking the visual plane. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say sure. one way or another, right? Because there's probably 10 million different ways to skin that cat. What matters at the end of the day is appropriately leading the target to drop the bullets into the center of it.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
However you get that done. But I also noticed that the less intently I focused on the reticle, the more success I have with movers.
Totally. You track. I'm assuming you track or trap.
Track. Yeah, I'm a tracker.
You do track.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just seems to me, if I can what I'll do is I'll figure out like how wide the target is, cut it in half, and then figure out where that is. The space to the lead edge to the vertical stadia of my reticle, that's the space that I track.
Okay. That's interesting. So I've tried a couple, tried tracking, trapping, and a hybrid. And
what do you find is most beneficial for you?
the hybrid and trap. I'm good at both. The hybrid is useful for me, but I'll explain a hybrid. Instead of being a 1-to-1,
Yeah.
I'm cutting the differential speed 50%.
Jump ahead.
And then I want to lag that. That's a trap. That's a true trap.
That's a true trap. Yep.
If let's say it's coming in and I have a 3, pretty easy to do at 5, 6, maybe even 700 yards. What if it's 4 mile an hour, 5 mile an hour,
Yeah.
7 mile an hour?
Yes.
So what if I cut the delta?
Yeah.
What if I hybrid the two and go trap track and I'm going to squish? So I get out in front. I know how fast it's coming in. I measure got my speed, comes across, immediately jump out in front, get 7 mils out in front. As soon as I see it cross the 4 mil mark, I can use a rear bag and go push and give it, take 2 miles an hour of the angular, like my visual motion, apparent motion. Okay. All I do is shove it. And so I'm still going to shoot it on the same lead. I'm just going to do it by moving part of my reticle with the target. So I'm now tracking.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
But I'm tracking at a sub 1-to-1 speed so that I can still find the exact center. And
I see exactly what you're saying. That's
it. It means that I can be dead stationary, jump out ahead, got it, MPA, bang, and like roll through a track.
Kind of the way now that you're saying that's kind of the way I'll do it as well, to a certain degree, depending on the situation. But
that's fluid.
It's fluid. I want to be more fluid. And I know that, tracking the whole way is not advantageous because of natural point of aim and movement and how far and what all the things, right? So, but that understanding of, Jacob says it all the time, Jacob Bynum, right? He's like, does fucking Tom Brady have a reticle in his eye, right?
Yeah.
You probably heard him say this before, right? So Jacob's full of those amazing analogies. He's just they're great. But he's like, Tom Brady doesn't have a fucking reticle in his eye. He's thrown millions of footballs and he just knows exactly how much goose to put on that ball to get it where he needs to be or where it needs to be for a receiver to catch it. And that's, I can see that. Like shooting movers enough, they become intuitive. We were going to shoot movers today, but I found out, we went out there. This is the second year in a row this happened. I thought the first year was a fluke. The coyotes chewed the plugs off the end of the wires. Yeah. The first year I came out there, I was just like, this is weird. Cause I went to go plug in my mover brain and I'm like, there's no plugs. Like, where's my plugs? And I'm looking at the end of the wire. I'm going, cause I wrap them up in plastic bags, right? And put zip ties on them for the wintertime. And, there's just no plugs at the end of the wire. And there's like 4 sections of wire that's like, this and then this and then this size strewn all over. And it's clearly bite marks on that. And I'm like, there's no like rodents out here. This is not rodent country. So it's got to be coyotes or it's like a badger or something out there. I mean, I don't know. And then we came out there again this year.
Oh, that's nuts.
And I was like, they're definitely coyotes doing it.
Time to break your thermal.
There are more coyotes out there than you can shake a stick at. I got to have the plugs come. They got a special kind of like twist lock that nobody has them in stock here. But shooting movers is one of the things that is a super perishable skill. When that it needs to just all the time. Have you ever shot marathon targets?
No, but I've had a couple of invites and just for reasons I'm like, reasons that just, I didn't make sense at the time. Like, no, let's focus on some other stuff while we're there. But they seem like the ultimate dynamic target.
Yeah, it is.
Ultimate.
Super. Yeah, it's really, really, yep. Well, and they don't, it's like, they just
wherever.
Move or first time I shot him, was in a CQB kind of environment where it's just like, dude, you're just like, whoa, he's like coming at me. It just totally changes the game of the need to shoot now. right?
Correct.
So from like pistol and carbine type stuff, but shooting them with precision rifles, it's one of the most realistic things that you can do. So shoot marathon targets if you can.
I will. I'm going to take with a few people that have asked me, hey, can we want to bring out the marathons? I'll tell them yes next time.
Yeah,
it just didn't work out because of the timing. I'm like, let's focus on some other things and get this other stuff done and before we, go playing around. And I'm like, now that we have it, yeah, we might go do that.
Sure.
It'd be cool.
So now back to marksmanship. So what do you think the most important fundamental aspect of marksmanship is to you? If you could only pick one, if you could teach one skill to a person that you're charged with training, it's a long pause.
Fundamental rapid target acquisition.
Rapid target.
See it, put the reticle on it.
Okay. All right.
Like it's the one thing that I think is that most people struggle with. It's also the most applicable skill for hunting. Mm-hmm. There's the thing. And you're looking over here. Oh, thing. To be able to naturally index, point, and get on glass with a precision rifle is not a natural thing to go from 1-to-1 to 25-to-1.
Okay. All right.
And all the other things, and a little bit of logic as to why that. If I'm going to make any other things that I do, I've seen some pretty, atrocious trigger presses, free recoil to full Monty press to death grips to cheek welds, shoulder welds, jaw welds, over the top, like you name it. Like you can see some pretty egregious things on a rifle when people and still make do. You can't hit it if you can't get your rifle to it and it disappears.
That's a good point, Francis.
And so of all the skills that I think I have had to work on that have paid dividends, there's my target.
Rapid target acquisition.
To a bag on a rifle. You get the point. Not a gas gun. But same thing would apply to me. Pistol, same thing. Gas gun, same thing. How fast do I index dead center on target without any thought?
Okay. All right. That's pretty good. I wasn't expecting that. And that's very true. Yeah. You got to that is definitely something that people always struggle with for sure. It's like, I can't find the target, or I lost the target. I lost it.
If I can't find it, 50% of your targets are
students you'll be shooting with a student and they'll send a shot and they'll burn an edge on the target. And you're like, oh, it's okay. I need you to hold another 3/10 left. They're like, I lost the target. I'm like, oh, no, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And then they come back and they shoot they shoot that wind call with plus 3/10 and now it's on the upwind side of the target. So yeah, that's definitely important. I like that. Usually for me, it's natural point of aim. I'm like, hey man, if you can master natural point of aim, get that rifle to sit naturally pointing at the target, it's going to give you not all the time in the world for the trigger press, but you get my drift in the sense that like it's not this fleeting, sight picture where it's like.
And I think that's exactly why that would be my second. I mean, it is the thing I fundamentally train probably more than anything else. Those are the two big ones. Finding targets, like that's why I wanted to come out here and spend some time. Like we talked in the car. Yeah. Like, Western hunting, Western shooting, Western matches. No trees, sagebrush, everything's gray or some version of gray. Targets are gray. There's not a lot of reference points that are easy like they are when you have like groves of trees or other things. Like, I need to train my brain to look, see, point, be on target. That will save me 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds of where to go, in and out, in and out. And it happened to me at least 5 times when I first got out and we sat down and started looking at targets. Yep. That's why, I don't know, you might have seen it, you might have not. I went down and I did some quick one-up drills.
I saw that.
Find a visual, drop down. Nope, not on it. And I had to come out and I'm like, okay, let's do it again. What's my index? What is it? What do I need to see? Where does my hand need to place it? Am I feeling the angle between my eye and the rifle correctly? And practiced a little and it kind of came back and I felt like it was pretty good. I made 2 mistakes that I'm like, that's wrong. Wrong target.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So to me, that fundamental, then everything else it leads to, now I'm on the target. Am I at MPA?
Yeah. Got it.
That's not the second most important. It's the most important to break consistently precise shots.
Clean shots, yep.
But I won't break a shot on anything I can't find. So
it's true. Yeah.
and you
enough.
miss 100% of the shot you don't take.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, that's the wonderful cliche term. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That
Mr.
said,
Gretzky.
please don't. If anybody's listening to this, please don't just start zinging lead for the sake of trying to hit 100%. It's not how that works. But,
yeah, exactly. We want to have some discretion. Well, cool, man. So let's see here. What does the rest of the season look like for you? And what are your goals for the rest of the year?
Rest of the season. So we have this MDT led farm. I've got the Frostbite match in Southern Indiana. I've got a match in Pennsylvania in early May. Yeah, early May. Then I shoot a Night Force match in June. I shoot the RMAC match, Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge.
Yeah.
Shot that 2 years now in a row. It's been awesome.
Dude, talk to me about air guns. We're gonna tangentialize a little bit. I want to hear about air guns. Like, what's up with this?
The full transparency. The air gun that I have will outdrill every 22 I've ever seen or shot.
Shit. Yeah. Okay.
Quarter, like half to 1 MOA, consistently at 100 yards. SDs in the 1 to 2 range every time.
Oh, wow.
No, like not like range, like in the 1s to 2s. 56 shots, SD at 2.1 over 8 stages that I had a chrono on it.
It makes sense, right? So like combustion in a chamber.
Correct.
There's a lot of variables to manage there, whereas like an air cylinder, it's pretty precise.
Yep.
Interesting.
And so, I mean, you know the ballistics on this. If I take an average 22 long rifle, it's going to have an SD between 8 and 14, depending on ammo. Maybe more. But let's just say subsonic ammo somewhere between 8 and 14.
Yep.
Average of 10. Good ammo, well vetted, good lot. Might be a 6 to an 8. Really good rifle, a 6. This is a 1 to a 2.
Wow.
Extreme spreads of 6, 7, 8 maximum over dozens and dozens of shots. 1 MOA precision. And you go to 100, 200. The BC on the new 40 grainers is nearly double that of the BC of a 40 grain 22 long rifle. So why is this so compelling and interesting to me? I'm thinking like if I ever want to hunt rabbits or varmint or coyote or pig or boar hunt, that I need to just take precise, dead quiet headshots for rabbits, pigs, varmints, whatever. That thing will drill. I have a picture of a 1 inch wide, there's 36 shots. I put 3 or 4 magazines, so it might have been 48, but I think it was 36. It's 1 inch tall, 4 inches wide. I didn't account for wind. I just sent it. It had Mirage. It's a 1 inch tall, 300 yard group.
Wow.
And then I tronered everything. And the first shot is generally low. Like I didn't use bleeders. First shot was slow, and then they go to normal. And then it starts to bleed through the tank. They go low.
Oh, got it.
So I was trying to find the limit of usable velocity. So took the first shot on its plot. That's out bottom. Took the next one. Normal, slow shot out the bottom. And I did this and crossed off all the ones and everything that was in the range that I planned to use. 1 inch by 4 inches at 300 yards.
Dang. That's pretty cool. So yeah, the precision of it is
nuts that we have air guns capable of essentially shooting the same thing as my dasher. The only difference is I can't keep the left to right the same because it's so sensitive. Relatively speaking, I didn't account for the wind. I was just trying to.
What are we shooting at speed wise? Like
1,000
feet a second?
Yep. 900 to 1,000. These I was firing around 990, and then out in Utah they were 1010.
Man, that's cool. Yeah, when I saw that you were into that, I was like, man, that's I wasn't aware that was a thing in the precision airgun world. That's cool.
I mean, I wasn't either until we made the chassis for FX airguns and the DRS Pro. So MDT worked with them and they said, hey, can you help us with the chassis? We did. We created this one-off concept. They loved it. So we made the DRS Pro chassis along the lines for the DRS Pro that FX sells now. It's designed to emulate everything we do in PRS and 22 rimfire, but in an airgun. And the nice thing about it, it's 22s are fairly inexpensive.
Right.
For ammo. Good ammo is still 50 cents around now. Like really good ammo. These are 5 to 10 cents for the lead slug.
You can just shoot and shoot and shoot.
You fill up air. It costs me $700 for an air compressor. I just fill up the gun. I get 10 to 20 shots, or I fill up a scuba tank, better yet, and then take the scuba tank with me and can fill that up 30, 40 times.
Okay.
Fill up the gun 30 to 40 times. And this is at high pressures. If I go to slugs are so lighter slugs, lighter pellets, and lighter or longer strings. I can go 20, 30, 40 shots on a single rifle fill it 30, 40, 50 times out of a tank. And it drills.
Endless fun.
Yeah, and it's super quiet. Moderators, they're moderators, and they're over the counter, and you don't have to pay any tax stamps. You just put them on, and they're super quiet. And yeah, it's the most fun you can have where you don't want to go through a background check.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's super cool. I'll have to get one because there's plenty of vermin running around here.
You will love it.
Cool.
It's a little, admittedly though, there are some challenges around learning air guns that are completely different than center fire. Center fire reliability, rimfire reliability through the roof. Generally, point, click, bang.
Okay.
Little bit of a learning curve with air guns between O-rings and, you've been around mechanical systems. Mm-hmm. They are inherently a little more finicky when you're dealing with compressed air. So
Sure. Yeah.
Otherwise, pretty awesome.
Right on. So back to matches. How many are you going to shoot this year, do you think?
7 or 8. With the Worlds, I think it's 8 and plus the finale, so 9.
Okay. So, and then does that include?
It's basically 7 PRS, 6 or 7 PRS, 2 non-endemic, the airgun match and Night 4 CLR, the Worlds, which is a PRS match, but it's for the Worlds, and then the PRS finale. So
the Worlds is the Worlds is very palatable to me. The Worlds is very palatable to me. There's a couple of dudes from overseas that want to be competitive in the Worlds, and they're in a training program with us to try to accomplish that. So the Worlds is very palatable to me. To be able to represent the United States of America would be pretty cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, technically, where are we at? I won't know till the 22nd officially whether I made the team. Right now, there's no more qualifiers, and I'm in 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
For open. So pretty likely that I'll make that team, and then can submit my application, plan on going to that, and spend 7-8 days with the team at Worlds.
Where is it this year?
It is in Texas.
Oh, it is?
Gravestone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. When's the next time it's going to be overseas?
The next one. It should be the next one.
To go back and forth?
No. So long story, and I don't have all the details because I haven't been tracking it, but I know the original venue for this was supposed to be in South Africa somewhere, and it basically fell through because of some political unrest. They looked for another venue. This just made sense. There's some challenges around hosting 400 people to shoot a match over multiple days between travel in, travel out, facilities, proximity to an airport, solid targetry, match directors who know how to run the match, licensing and like legal problems within like governance. Like, why do you have people coming in with rifles?
With rifles, yeah.
You need to have this stamp that we didn't know we needed to have. When you do all that, it's not very many countries that can host this.
I can see that.
And you host it at the level that most of the countries that are coming that have done really well, like the US, Australia, Britain, Italy, and some of the more like developed, I'm going to call them developed PRS countries. I don't mean they're not developed. I just mean they've been in the sport long enough that they have now competitors coming into the US. They've taken what they've learned from the US back to their country. And you see that being implemented in the way they run their matches. When they go to shoot a match, they expect that whatever facility or venue they shoot, hopefully, has the capacity to feel a lot like the best matches they've ever attended.
Yeah.
Some places, I mean, it's not to say that all of them can't, but not everyone can, and you do need a match director who's at least experienced enough of that to help. So that's why generally, like, I noticed the U.S. will help build out the match, at least in some capacity. There's someone from the U.S. and or other, I think the leaders that from each country will, the team captains or something, will at least advise on kind of what they'd like to see. I don't know if that's actually the case, but I hope that is the case because it'd be cool to see the Worlds represent something closer to well, even if not actually like the Olympic style level.
Agreed.
It's the best of the best from each country that truly represent their country at the best of their capabilities. And then the outcome is more meaningful.
It would be really cool to see, it would be really cool to see a version of our sport in the Olympics someday.
I would love that.
Yeah, it would be really freaking badass. Well, cool, man. So any regionals that you're going to shoot, any one days, or are you just going to kind of relegate everything to 2-day pro matches and just do your training, on your range and not usually, do you usually use regionals as a training event?
I don't.
No? Okay.
This is more of a personal choice, but I mean, good or bad, I don't know. I can just say that this is the reason I don't. I don't shoot regionals because I know two parts. I don't have the time to commit to shooting regionals along with all my other commitments. So it becomes a burden when I have a 1 day match. Means I'm still prepping on Friday.
Yep.
I go to the match on Saturday. I'm there all day. It's 2 to 3 hours away from me. So I can back at midnight or 10, 11 o'clock, depending on the match. I might be back at 8, but I'm just as tired after a long day, or I stay over that night, hang out with the guys, leave Sunday morning.
And then you're home half day on
Sunday from having all day, like most of the day, Friday into Saturday and part of Sunday.
Reasonable.
Now I go to a 2 day. It might be 8 hours away. So I might have to leave Thursday night or Friday morning if it's closer. I'm there all day Friday anyway, so I burned extra half a day. Shoot all day Saturday anyway. I could potentially leave Sunday night or just Monday. And I have the that feeling when you decide, yeah, I got time. I'm just going to go relax and chill. I got nothing else to do tomorrow.
I very rarely have that.
You don't get that out of 1 day.
Right.
Because you're like, I'm leaving work. I got to get this stuff. Oh, I got to get my ammo together. Let's go to the match. You shoot, it's that night. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to shoot a match tomorrow. Sunday, oh, I got to get home. There's something about literally the 2 days are more relaxing to me than a 1 day by an order of magnitude.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
And the other reason is just there's our local community. I like winning a lot. So, but there's also people who still need to learn, and I'm like I'm not helping any of them achieve their first podium. And this is I don't know if this is selfish, altruistic, or somewhere in between. I don't want to take away someone's first podium if I can avoid it.
Fair enough.
And this, I'm past the point of where a regional match will give me the same type of skill development that I would need out of a pro match. And if the person who would have finished second gets a win and another win and another win, and they decide I need to go practice competitively, I want to go shoot the pro series. Great. One more person I'm going to compete with on the pro series. And then somebody else takes their place and takes their place. I'm actually more for that than I am for me just going in and potentially taking out a first, second, or a third. I'm not going to say I would win all of them, but a first, second, or a third, or a podium that somebody who gets their first one might stay in the sport that wouldn't have otherwise stayed in. And that concerned me.
Well, that's being a good steward to the sport.
Yeah, sure. We still do the podcast. We still talk to him. Chad goes there all the time, and he'll run 308 and do tack matches, and he'll run essentially 308 as open. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I might do it with 223. I might try a sportsman division now. The sportsman's a thing. I may go tinker into those. That's actually one of the ways that I thought about trying to go into sportsman just for fun. So yeah.
Cool, man. Well, dude, I think this is a great point to stop and jump into the Modern Day Sniper Club questions.
Cool.
So Francis, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for, putting everything out there that you do, with the Miles to Matches podcast too. And, just being a good steward to the sport. Right. I'm super glad to be able to just finally put a face to the name and, meet you in person. And I'm really looking forward to shooting with you this weekend.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you having me.
Fantastic, dude.